I'm in the process of using tin can lids that my aunt had given me, and we're going to turn them into Christmas tree ornaments. And I'm starting by spraying the outside of them with espresso colored spray paint. Okay, my metal lids that I got, I've sprayed them with the spray paint on both sides. That way when I paint this part black, the paint will stick and it won't just wipe itself off because they were very smooth metal. So I'm just using some craft paint, and I had used these already yesterday. And here's a little trick: if you want to keep your paint soft inside whatever tray you're using that you put your paint in, just put some saran wrap right over the top of it, and it'll keep your paint wet. And I don't know if you can hear that, but that is the sound of wonderful coffee brewing in the background. Now, I'm using a small paintbrush, and that is just because I ruined my paintbrush that was a little larger than this. So, if you have a little bit larger paintbrush, that would make it easier to do something like this. But I'm just going to get in here and paint right in here. I'm just painting up to the edge. And the reason I'm painting this black is because, if you can see, I have some stencils here, and I'm going to use stencil brushes and some white paint, and we're going to be putting some inspirational words inside these. And I know that it is after Christmas and I'm making ornaments, but I'm going to use these on the tree for next year. And this is also a great idea for you to use any time of the year. You can make these for gift tags or, you know, anything like that. Just any kind of little gifts. It doesn't have to be Christmas. They don't have to be ornaments. Mine I'm just making as ornaments. And since I used the dark paint, I'm probably only going to need one coat of this, but I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. And after I get all of these painted and they're dry, then I'm going to come back and show you how we're going to do the stenciling with our white paint. I ended up having to do a second coat, and because I had some brush lines in it, I painted the second coat the opposite direction, which gives it a little bit of a canvas effect. I'm not sure if you can see that very well. And then I put just one coat around on the inside, so it blended really well. And now what I'm going to do, before I put my words in and stencil, which I cut them out so they would fit inside these, I'm going to take some of this gold metallic paint. Now this particular one is the Folk Art brand, and if you want something full coverage, this is probably not it unless you're willing to do 4 coats on whatever you're painting. So, but it's going to be perfect for what we're going to do here. So what I'm going to do is just pour a little bit out. We're not going to need a lot on my parchment paper. And I just want to dress these up a little bit. So I'm just going to do a paint rub right around the edge, and this is going to give it some depth. It's going to give it just a little bit of extra. One of those just small details that's really going to make it look a whole lot better than if we just left it plain. Now with this going on dark, it almost looks like an oil rubbed bronze, which is very beautiful and gives it somewhat of an antique look. So I think that is going to be perfect. So I'm going to go around the edges of all of these, let them dry, and then I will come back and we will start our stenciling. Okay, the edges of my lids, they're dry enough, and so what I'm doing is I'm taking a stencil and I'm just laying it in here. And some of these I had to cut so close to the edge that what I did, just in case I stencil outside of my stencil because I'm using white, I wrapped my paintbrush with my black paint in saran wrap in case I need to do some touch up. So, whoops, shake my paint a little, and oh, that one dried out. This one's been covered for a while. It mainly dried out, though I can still put my paint here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white paint there. Now I have a stencil brush, and I'm just going to dip the tip of it in there, and then I really want to pat off most of my paint. And then I'm going to hold this and go straight up and down. And this is how we're going to use our stencils. Because if you brush back and forth, then it's going to bleed even more up underneath the edge. And these are not self-adhesive, and I didn't want to put a spray adhesive on them just in case. I didn't want them peeling my black or my brown paint off, since these are metal. So I'm just holding them with my finger and just trying to be careful. Now another thing that I'm going to do is, instead of peeling this off right away, I'm actually going to let them dry for a bit, because these stencils were not the easiest for me to get out of these. I already tried to see how easy it would be, and I don't want to completely mess up, or I'd have to, you know, go ahead and paint over the whole thing and then start again. So I'm hoping that if I just do my stenciling carefully and let them dry, that they will be fine. And another thing, you're not going to have perfectly clean lines whenever you stencil unless you've got some really good self-adhesive stencils. But these are handmade ornaments, and they are supposed to look rustic, which is the look I'm going for. Rustic, maybe a little bit aged. Okay, so I want to carefully let go of that. Okay, there we go. And set that aside. And I'm going to move on to the next one. And I had to cut these in some weird shapes so they would fit. And I'm trying to get them as straight as I can, because I do have my holes at the top for my string to hang them. And I'm going to go ahead and finish these up and then come back. And the last couple things that we're going to do is we are going to take some of our twine and just hot glue right around the edge of this, just one, and then we're going to put our strings through, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, look how cute these turned out. So I pulled out all my stencils. I'll let these dry. I pulled out my stencils, and now I'm going in and I unwrapped the brush that I had wrapped up that still had paint in it. And I am basically kind of just dry brushing, because I don't want a big glob of paint. And I'm just touching up, you can see this. I'm just basically just kind of dabbing over where that white paint got, just a little bit. Just like that. I just wanted to show you how I was doing this. And now I'm going to go plug in my glue gun so we can get to our twine. Okay, I took some of my twine and I pre-cut it. I measured around the diameter of my tins, my lids, and I am going to, actually I should start on the bottom. And I'm just going to glue it right here on the edge. Put a little dab of hot glue on there. And get my twine laid in there. And one thing about hot glue is that you can pick it off if you make a mess. I don't know if I was too far away. I just hot glued that on the outside. And I'm basically just going to wrap it around and put another dab of hot glue right over here to connect it. Just a little bit. We want to pull it snug so it stays. I mean, if you want to put extra dots around, you can. I'm not. But, if your twine doesn't want to stay, you can do that. But the reason that I decided I wasn't going to do that is because I also have a pre-cut string that we're going to hang it with. And I'm folding it in half. And what I'm doing, if I can get it to go through, is I'm putting, there we go, putting it through there this way. And then I am taking these and running it through this way. And I'm doing it this way. And the reason I'm doing this is so when I hang it on the tree or a bag or whatever I'm putting it on, then it will hang straight. So once I do that, then I'm just tying a knot at the top, and that is it. And we have this cute little ornament or gift tag, whatever you want to use it for. You could also go in if you wanted to add some like little stars or snow dots or anything. You could use gold paint. I actually might go in and put some stars inside some of these, just because I do have the gold right around here. But I'm undecided on that. But I will come back and I will show you how these look on my Christmas tree.